Hi, I'm Dick from Evil Done Badly, the worst true crime podcast in the history of the world. And we're here on YouTube today to talk about Harold Shipman. He's a British doctor, and, he was. We'll get to that. And he was supposed to protect a bunch of people and, make them better and cure them and all that sort of thing, like doctors normally do. But, he kind of strayed from that a little bit, and let's get into it. Now, you can hear this full episode on any podcast platform, and that will have a whole lot more swearing in it than this one will. This is going to be a quick overview of the Harold Shipman story. If you wanted to know more, go check out the podcast. It's everywhere. So let's get in there. Harold Shipman. All right. He's born in Nottingham, England, in 1946 to middle-class parents. They were very religious. He was the middle child, and he was doted on by his mother, and that turned him into entitled little cocky prick. So he's pretty arrogant, and not really that popular. And something terrible happens to him. And when he's 17, his mom dies. She gets sick with lung cancer and she withers away, and that's very sad. You wouldn't wish that on anybody. And Harold here, he gets to see her last days, and it's very kind of traumatic because she's just slowly dying, and they're giving her morphine to ease her pain because, that's really all you can do at that point. And, Harold goes, hey, that morphine looks like it's doing pretty good for my mom who has cancer. She's in a lot of pain, and that morphine sure helps. Wow. This morphine is powerful stuff. I'd like to know more about it. So, at that moment, he decides, hey, I'm going to medical school. So he signs up for the University of Leeds and starts medical school in 1965. I mean, he was competent enough. He was not showing off or anything. But, he sort of knew his stuff. People didn't really like him, but that didn't matter. He did well enough to pass, and he eventually moved on to get a junior position in West Yorkshire. So he shags around there for a bit. It's just learning the ropes, getting acclimated to it. And he eventually becomes a GP in a small town called Todmorden. Okay, so he's a full-fledged doctor here now. He's good to go. And he has access to a lot of, sick people and drugs. And he finds this drug called pethidine, which acts a lot like morphine. And we know he's kind of curious about morphine. So he takes up this pethidine stuff, and he likes it. And in order to get more of it, he starts forging prescriptions in the names of, his patients and going and claiming them for himself, which obviously is quite illegal. And eventually these patients go, I don't have all this pethidine. Where's all this pethidine going? And, it comes back on Harry here, and he gets in trouble. He is unable to practice for a while. He gets a fine. He just fucks around for a couple years. It's not a good time for him. And he's got to go to rehab and all, normal stuff like that. So, after he gets out of rehab, he finds another job. Because some other hospital is hard up for people and they're willing to look past that. Or he's just lying. He's probably smart enough to make up a good story. So he moves on to a different hospital. So he's been laying low for a couple years now. And in 1977, he wanders into Donnybrook Medical Center in Manchester. They're hard up for doctors and they hire him. And even though he has really had no personality thus far, he becomes sort of well liked, and he's considered kind of caring and friendly, and people actually sort of like having him as their doctor. So he builds up this huge level of trust. He's a pillar of the community. People take to him. They have no trouble trusting him with their sick people. Harold is so well liked that people have no problem letting him just walk into their homes and dealing with their sick old people and just opening up his little bag of chemicals and administering drugs to them that are supposed to make them feel better. But somewhere in his brain it cracks, and he decides, hey, you know what? If I just put a little bit extra in this or give them stuff that they don't need, these people may not actually survive. And you know what? I'm sick of dealing with all these old sick people, so maybe if I just accidentally overdose some of them, maybe my life would be a little bit less of a hassle. So, yeah, you can see where this is going. He starts overdosing people, mainly on morphine. And, well, an unusual amount of people start to, die under his care. And he's kind of, people die all the time, but his numbers were off the charts. Like, why do so many people die under his care? Is it just a big coincidence, or is there something else going on here? Well, we know that it's not a coincidence. It's Harry. Harry enjoys overdosing people. And his method usually involved overdosing these people and, recommending that, hey, we don't need autopsies, and you should probably get this person cremated as soon as possible. Yeah, so the numbers add up, and eventually we will get somebody who looks into it. A doctor, Linda Reynolds, was very concerned about the high rate of deaths around Harry. Now, she started an investigation, and she wasn't the only one. Even the undertakers who used to come collect the bodies go, you know what? Shipman here, he said that they died under such and such a circumstances. Okay, fair enough. They had to die under some circumstances. But when they came to collect the bodies, they noticed, hey, these bodies were in a position that was not really consistent with how Harry said they died. Like, okay, so apparently, obviously, I'm no expert in anything, Harry would say they would die of old age. Okay, that's how an old person dies. And these people walk in and they go, these people are in a weird position, and it looks like these people look more like they've been overdosed than, I don't know what they look for, but it was weird to them. So this investigation is ongoing. And this investigation in itself doesn't really yield much. But it's going to come crashing down, because in June of 1998, 81-year-old Kathleen Grundy is one of Shipman's patients. She's a former mayor, so she's pretty smart. And she was in excellent health for her age. Now, Harry comes by, he deals with her, he looks after her, and a couple hours later, Kathleen's daughter Angela comes by and finds poor Kathleen unresponsive and, dead. And she's like, what just happened here? What was this guy doing? So she calls him. And Shipman goes, hey, yeah, she was fine. She must have just died of natural causes. And you know what? She died of natural causes, and don't bother with any kind of autopsy, because who needs it? She was 81. She died. She's old. Bound to happen. And Angela goes, you know what? That's a bit strange. She was fine. She's always been fine. He came by, take some blood. Now she's not with us anymore. I don't think I trust this Shipman guy. And he's telling me to get her cremated right away. And, well, we're not going to do that. So Angela looks into it a bit more. And she gets her lawyer brain working on it. And she looks through the will. And the will, I mean, Kathleen was doing okay, so she has a few $100,000 lying around in her estate. And the will says everything's getting left to Dr. Harold Shipman. What? Okay. Yeah, no, the family is nowhere near there. It's all being left to Harry because he's such a pillar of the community and people love him. Okay. That's wrong. This is crazy. This is not right. I gotta look into this. So the first thing she notices is that these documents, she has 3 specific documents that came from the solicitor's office. And they're not written like her mom would write them, because they were written by someone who's much dumber than her mother. Her mother was meticulous, mayor, well educated, blah, blah, blah. She didn't write this stupid crap. And there's 3 witnesses signing off on these documents. So she has connections, so she goes, hey, I need to speak to these people who've signed off on these documents. One of them turns out to be someone named J. Smith, which I assume is completely made up altogether. Okay, so J. Smith, yeah, right. That's not happening. And the other 2 are real people, and she hunts them down and says, hey, did you sign off on these documents for my mom's will, Kathleen Grundy, ex-mayor? And they both go, what? What are you talking about? No, they did not. And she goes, okay, this is all adding up now. It's all adding up to one big mess that involves Harry. And to make matters worse, the documents are typed on a specific typewriter. And this typewriter has little imperfections in the keys. Okay, so they're all typed by the same typewriter. All right. Nothing to do with Kathleen. So, she goes, hey, this is all a pile of crap. This guy needs to be investigated. And I want the cops to look into this. So the cops look into it. They walk into the office and go, are you Dr. Harold Shipman? And he goes, yep, here's my typewriter. And they go, what? Okay, yeah, sure. All right. He's just handing them this typewriter without even being asked. And he goes, yeah, Kathleen used to come in and borrow my typewriter so she could type up documents. It's like, what? Yeah, no, really. No, Kathleen was well off in that. I don't think she needed to borrow his typewriter. And plus, it's the late 90s. Kathleen probably knows how to use a computer at this point. And that's all very fishy. So, yeah. They look into it. They go, okay, this is definitely the typewriter that typed these up. And it's written not by Kathleen. It's written by this idiot. So they look into it. And they find weird circumstances. They go back 15 deaths surrounding Harold Shipman. And the ones that were not cremated and stuff like that they found that, yeah, they were all drugged up, poisoned, murdered. Yeah, so it's looking very bad for Harry. Harry, of course, says, hey, they were old, there's mercy killings, all this sort of thing. And he gets convicted of, 15 cases of murder. So he gets 15 life sentences, no chance of parole, and an extra 4 years tacked on for the forgery of the legal documents. So he's gone away forever. Tack on another 4 years. That's awesome. So they do that. And, well, they looked into it after, and they figure he at least killed these 15 people. But there is a very high likelihood that the number is well over 200. 200 deaths that he's responsible for that would, otherwise not have happened. So, if this is true, he's definitely one of the most prolific serial killers of all time. And I think he's number one in the UK for sure. He's probably number one in the world, if anybody actually knew. And Harold goes to prison, and he's still a cocky dick. So he just makes life difficult for everybody. He gets on their nerves. They probably wish they could have executed him, but anyways, he will save them the trouble, because in 2004, he says, hey, I'm suicidal. And they go, great! Let's take you off of suicide watch. And sure enough, on January 13th, he hangs himself in his cell with his bed sheets. That is tragic, because it's way too humane for him. Now, he's so evil that the UK actually revamped their medical system to keep a better eye on their medications. It took something like this to think, hey, maybe people are going to abuse all these drugs. Yeah, okay. And, they also decided, hey, we need better protocols around just dealing with people who apparently died of natural causes. So, there you go. At least there's that. We got some new legislation about how doctors and nurses can do things in the hospital. I mean, it makes it more difficult for anybody who wants to steal the drugs from their hospital, but they're have no problem making things difficult for those people. So there you go. And that is the story of Harold Shipman, the UK's most prolific serial killer, or at least we think. This was not a bloody episode by any means, but this guy was pure evil. Hope you liked it, and if you want the explicit version of this, it's a little bit longer, and it's on Apple, Google, Amazon, and Spotify. At least, probably more, and you can check that out at Evil Done Badly. And if you'd like to contact us, you can contact us here on YouTube or at evildonebadly@gmail.com. So there you have it. Hope you liked it. I will see you next time. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Maybe you'd also like to check out our friend David Mark Gill's new song. It's called Hiding Bodies. I'm going to play it here now, and it's available on all streaming services. Thanks again. Bye-bye. I'm a ghost in the shadows, lurking in the night, digging holes in the dirt, keeping secrets out of sight. Grave after grave on the side of the road where the corpses lie, no one needs to know. I kept them inside till I ran out of space. The garage is full, gotta find a new place. Alleyways and basements and crevices unseen, anywhere, anytime, upside down and in between. 100 bodies right inside my walls. You're all my toys, stuffed like dolls. Under the floor, out in the yard. My worms are super fat little tubs of lard. I'm hiding the dead in places so still. I'm an evil ninja, I silently kill. You're gonna die in the cold alone. Stay a while, make yourself at home. I'll chop you up and I'll put you in bags as the garbage man takes you away. Please let me in, I'll invade your home. They won't ever find me, I only work alone. Limb by limb, slice by slice, I got a fridge and I'll keep you inside. I'll lop off your face, throw you on the ground, chuck you off a cliff and watch your corpse drown. 1,000 bodies rot inside my walls. You're all my toys, stuffed like dolls. Under the floor, out in the yard. My worms are super fat little tubs of lard. I'm hiding the dead in places so still. I'm an evil ninja, I silently kill. You're gonna die in the cold alone. Stay a while, make yourself at home. They tried to put me in a sanitarium, cause I had your head in a terrarium. God forbid a guy have a little fun. You're already dead, I'm not hurting anyone. I'll hunt you down in my stylish white van. If you're looking for treats, I'm just your man. It's all for you, no one can hear you please. All hope is gone as you lay amongst the trees. It doesn't matter what you try to do, black putrefaction is in store for you. There's just one way to quench my desire: flick you in a dumpster and set you on fire. 1,000 bodies rot inside my walls. You're all my toys, stuffed like dolls. Under the floor, out in the yard. My worms are super fat little tubs of lard.